Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are back recording on a Friday. Now, we were supposed to record earlier on in the week. I had a vaccine for shingles, and it completely knocked me off my feet. When we were supposed to record yesterday, and I was lying in bed, alternating between sweating and being freezing cold.
And Joy tested positive for COVID 3 days ago. So, take it with a grain of salt.
Joy, when we finish this recording, I'll be washing my hands just to be on the safe side.
I mean, to be honest, I am vaccinated and boosted, so it felt like a cold, for lack of a better way of saying it. We're not going to get into it, but get your vaccines, everybody.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we will let Tim take it from here. What is your music news, sir?
Okay, so this was music news. This is hot off the press.
We have the same music news. I already know this is coming.
I think we probably do. So I read this afternoon and I was like, hey?
Yeah, I did too.
Mr. Josh Freese.
Yeah,
that's what you have?
Yep.
Okay. So 2 years ago, or just over 2 years ago, we sadly lost the drummer Taylor Hawkins. He was a drummer in the Foo Fighters. He was Dave Grohl's best friend, musical companion and all that kind of stuff. And there was some discussion whether the Foos would continue. And then a couple of years ago, they announced Josh Freese will be the replacement drummer in the Foo Fighters. Now, Josh Freese has played with absolutely everyone and their brother. He's typically a gun for hire, as they say.
Nine Inch Nails, Guns N' Roses.
He's played with all kinds of people. He's also known as probably the best drummer in the business. And he's also known as an incredibly nice guy that's easy to get on with. So he was announced as a drummer in the Foo Fighters, and they ended up doing a 2-year tour. And that tour was sort of fizzling towards its end until Dave Grohl had some indiscretions with a lady he met on the road. And then the Foo Fighters juggernaut somewhat came to a bit of a crashing halt. And most people said that was probably the end of the Foos because Dave was working on his marriage or dissolving his marriage or some variation thereof. So it was always assumed that Josh Freese would be the drummer going forward. And then they announced a gig date in, I think it's September, which is in like Saudi Arabia or somewhere, which is for the...
something in the Middle East. Yeah,
it's like for a Formula One race that the Foo Fighters are going to be playing.
Singapore Grand Prix, actually, Tim. I just scrolled down.
There you go. It's in Singapore, not Saudi Arabia. There you go.
Okay.
So it was assumed that Josh Freese would be the drummer because, he has been the drummer. And apparently, doing a bit of research this afternoon, it seems that this gig date was a surprise to Josh Freese. He did not know about it. It was announced and he was like, really? And then today on Instagram, about 3 p.m. this afternoon, he posts this, and it says, the Foo Fighters called me Monday night to let me know they've decided to go in a different direction with their drummer. No reason was given. Regardless, I enjoyed the last 2 years with them, both on and off the stage, and I support whatever they feel is the best for the band. In my 40 years of drumming professionally, I've never been let go from a band. So while I'm not angry, just a bit shocked and disappointed. But as most of you know, I've always worked freelance and bounced between bands, so I'm fine. Stay tuned for my top 10 possible Josh got booted from the Foo Fighters list. So yes, a little bit of David Letterman humor at the end.
I just had to make sure Tim put the David Letterman there. You guys didn't hear the quote, but I was like, we have to say it, Tim.
Yeah, so...
awkward. Well, what it is it's been a weird year, I think, for the Foo Fighters. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's... The way this is handled to me, I mean, I don't know the inner workings of the Foo Fighters. I don't know the relationship that Josh Freese has with Dave Grohl. But this statement suggests that this seems a bit off because they said they decided to go in a different direction with no reason given. Now, if they'd have called Josh Freese up and said, hey, we're going with Taylor Hawkins' son, And a lot of people are saying that's probably what's going to happen. And
Hmm.
you think you tell him, say, well, Josh, you're such a great drummer and such a
Just
good
let
guy.
him finish out the year. Like,
Yeah, but it's just weird. And like if on Instagram, like a lot of top drummers are like Stuart Copeland, Wolfgang Van Halen, and a bunch of other like drummers from other bands are like, what?
yeah,
What?
and what's funny is so when I was doing my extensive research for this episode, which includes Googling music news from today, it pops right up. So that's why I was like, when me and Tim were talking, I was like, we probably have the same music news because there's a big one like staring at us. And ironically, Tim, you did the drum episode, the last episode. And when I was reading it, like all these things kept popping up, Tim, about like his amazing drumming skills. Like when I was
Yeah.
Googling him and looking at it, like, look at him doing this drum roll from this famous song. Insert whatever drum roll you've ever heard ever, right? And I was like, what just happened? I don't know. Do you to be a fly on the wall, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say, I've been in a number of bands. Obviously, I've never been in a band of the caliber of the Foo Fighters.
Wait, you mean you're not a Foo Fighters member, Tim? I thought we did thought we
No.
established that.
But
Oh,
I've been in a number of bands, mostly cover bands. And I
yeah.
think my theory about band life is the same whether you're playing a Moose Lodge in Southwest Virginia or whether you're playing a massive stadium somewhere. What it is, you've got a collection of people, which is a
Mhm.
business. I mean, Foo Fighters is a business at this point,
Of course.
merchandising, and they have people working for them. But effectively, you have a business that doesn't have an HR department. And if Dave Grohl wakes up on Wednesday morning and thinks, yeah, that Josh, he wasn't a lot of fun to hang out with, was he? Let's get rid of him. And that goes. There you go. Done.
And guess what Joy does for a living? Joy's an HR manager, so her soul dies a little when she reads these headlines, Tim.
But no, it's true that. I mean, I can tell you as
Hmm.
somebody who's been in loads of bands
I know.
that, arbitrary decisions are made all the time and there's no comeback from that.
Mm-mm. Well, and the thing about it is typically, so from an HR perspective, just for those who don't know this, Joy actually met Tim as an HR person.
Yeah.
And I've been in HR since 2017, give or take. That's what my degree is in. That's what my certification is. And I now work as an HR manager for a national company. So I do have some insight into this. I'm not just talking to talk. And you struggle a lot with small businesses who have the same problem. And Tim's right. These bands are basically small businesses in a way. There's no one really, but the thing about it is they have a little bit more freedom. I wouldn't say the Foo Fighters are a small business, but they're probably ran like a small business, right? Even though I work for a national company, there's only 5 people in management. Sometimes with businesses, it doesn't take a lot of management and that kind of thing to do it, right? And I imagine
Sure.
it's the same for business for people who are getting gigs for these big kind of Foo Fighters level bands. And I cringed when I saw it because I just kept thinking, oh my God, could you imagine being the person who probably found out about this? I mean, maybe he got an email, Tim, before it went out on Instagram, but
Well, no,
like, dang.
they called him on Monday. That was the first he heard of it.
Okay, well, that's still, I don't know. It just made me feel a little cringy.
Yeah, the other thing you have to consider is that bands like the Foo Fighters, they have members that are permanent members, that are
That's
members of the
true.
band. They get royalties. They're included on the merchandise. They're
Yeah, I
included.
don't know if he was like, he's probably a 1099 contractor with a certain amount of dates written in. You're probably right on that.
Yeah. He probably was paid a fee per gig rather than being a
Hmm.
member of the band. I'm assuming, but I mean, I don't know that. I
And
mean,
we'd have to see if the contract was written. You're right on that one.
yeah, I mean, his name was on the merchandise on the last tour. You could buy like shirts that had all the band names on the back, and he was on there.
What?
He appeared in images and stuff because, like, the Rolling Stones, when Bill Wyman left, they never replaced
Yeah.
Bill Wyman. They just got people into the guy to play bass who was a
And
contractor.
then never gave them like an official name in the band. You're right. We
Yeah.
talked about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was the case with Josh Freese. All I know about Josh Freese is apparently he's the best drummer in the business. He's incredibly easy to get on with. People love him, and that's why everyone's like,
That's what I
hey.
Googled and what I read when I was saying it. And the thing about it is I understand if they wanted to use Taylor's son, like I get that, Tim. But like, just let him finish out the season and move on. Like, why burn bridges you don't need to burn? It's odd.
Sure. Or even you tour with the guy for 2 years, tell him and say, hey,
Have a
nothing.
conversation.
Yeah, we really want we really want Shane to have this opportunity, and it's the connection to his dad, and that would be fine. But like when from the press release that Josh says no
That's what I was
reason was
saying.
given. I mean, it's just poor.
Well, the other thing is like he can sue you now. I'm just gonna say it because it is a business, Tim. From an HR perspective, like I would never, Tim. I'm gonna say this and put this on the podcast right now. You would never, as an HR manager, fire someone and give no reason. That's
Yeah,
a
but
weird thing to do.
yeah, it's very odd. Like I'm looking through the comments. Wes Borland, who is the guitar player in Limp Bizkit. I'm looking through his comments. He says, "Wow, WTF, WTF, that's gross. I'm shook up." It's like
It's
all
just
these
also,
professional
Tim.
musicians are all delving in on this, and it's like,
Can we talk about the optics of it too? Because all these other professional musicians are doing that, right? And with what happened with the recent lead singer of the Foo Fighters, that wasn't a great look, and he bared a child from another woman, and there was a whole thing there. Wouldn't you be a little bit more careful about your PR perspective? I don't know. From my perspective as an HR manager, the optics just look really bad.
yeah. Another one here, Mike Portnoy, another incredible famous drummer, says, "I'm shocked. You seem to be the perfect fit." I mean, it's just like everyone's just going through the disco. Huh?
And it's not like we're talking about somebody who's known to have drinking or drugs or some weird problem that, you know what I'm saying, Tim, that like would maybe we don't see it on the forefront, but could be later in the background. No, when I was Googling him, he had like the best reputation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Dave Grohl has always been, we've been told, should I say, Dave Grohl is the nicest man in rock and roll.
And
But
even though Joy has weird thoughts about that, but continue.
but what has he done recently? Cheated on his wife, had a child out of wedlock with somebody else, and now fired Josh Freese.
Here's my thing though, Tim. I've said this many times over. As a woman who is married to a male, it's not even for me if I was Dave Grohl's wife, Tim. I think I would be less concerned about the cheating. That's a whole nother thing we can get into down the road, right? But my thing is as if I were his wife, Tim, and I think about this a lot, it's less about yes, the actions are something we could talk about. They're discussing. We can get into that later. We don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. What wasn't acceptable, right, Tim? We could speculate all day. They could have an open relationship for all we know. That's not the point. The point of the matter was hiding it and then putting me in the limelight and making me have to deal with that. That's embarrassing to your spouse, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. Don't come from the internet. You can speculate all you want. It's not my point to speculate on the ins and outs of the relationship and what was appropriate and what they define as cheating and what they had as a couple, right, Tim? That's their own personal thing. But to put her in that place, to hide it and then have to announce it on your social media, like I have this surprise child. I'm sorry. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that is weird and that's a bad look. And so what I was getting at when I was trying to talk about all the pieces, and Tim kind of has an insight because he works with bands and he knows how these things work, is the optics of it just look bad. Even if there was a legitimate reason to fire this guy, which I don't know if there was, I'm not there, but I would have handled it in a different way to make us look less terrible to all these, like Tim was pointing out, all these musicians commenting who know this drummer, who love him. It's a small world.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
And I think the best way to close this thing out, this is a comment from Brian Ray, not Brian May, Brian Ray. Brian Ray is the guitarist who stands on the right-hand side of the stage with Paul McCartney. He's been a guitarist with Paul McCartney for a long time.
Yes,
He also plays
I've seen
bass.
that guy.
Yeah, plays bass with Paul McCartney as well. And this is his comment to this. He says, "I don't know, kind of sounds like they need more than a drummer." And then another person commented on that post and says, "Agreed. If Dave is looking for the same chemistry he had with Taylor, that's unlikely to happen." So it could be that Josh's face just didn't fit. He's a nice guy. He's reliable. He shows up. He learns all the songs. He's a professional on stage, everything like that. But his face didn't fit.
Y'all can't see me, but I'm screaming because as an HR manager, this is one of my biggest things that I have struggled with. And I've even watched it play out, Tim, maybe in the place where you work, because I worked HR there. You cannot hire someone and then get upset when they're not the person who was there in that position before. They will never be that person.
No, that's true.
And it's not fair.
But you're coming from the perspective of someone who's an HR manager, not the flaky world of bands.
It's true. But it's actually like my kryptonite. I have struggled with this. And for those who are listening, we will get off of this. This is not a HR podcast, but Joy has a lot to be said. And Tim, you've seen it. You're a manager. You cannot hire someone and then get upset when they are not the person that you like let go, or they moved on to a different job or whatever. They're going to bring a different set of things to it. You just have to accept that.
Yeah.
So that is my word of advice. With that being said, we have a really fun episode, and we are off to a great start for this episode. So for those who don't know, Joy may have wrote Tim earlier in this week when he wasn't dying of shingles vaccinations and Joy wasn't dying of COVID. I say dying very dramatically because neither of us were doing those things. I said, Tim, find 10 songs that the general public would know. And he goes, okay, I will. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to play a game. And we're going to go back and forth. We have to give each other clues, Tim, to each song. But you cannot use the artist or the lyrics of the song.
Okay.
And see if we can guess it. And the goal is for those who are listening to you guys try to guess them before we get them. And you have to be very careful, Tim, because no lyrics, no artist. You have to describe the song and see if the other person gets it.
Okay. Are you allowed to use the name of somebody in the band or not?
If it's not like super obvious, like if you say Brian May, that's pretty obvious too.
Okay.
Or Keith Moon or something. Like you gotta keep it like the idea is to see, because what's gonna be funny is the way I explain something is gonna be completely different than the way Tim explains something, and we already know that's coming. So I will start it off. I have a giant list. We will probably not get through every Tim's 10 songs of my 10 songs because we'll start talking about like, I don't know, how people in the UK take out their trash or something.
Okay.
Apparently it's different than America. Well, something about calling it a bin. I don't know. Nobody
of course,
laughed.
it's rubbish in the dustbin, obviously.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds great. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to start it off. Oh, wait. Did you ever get your bin back, Tim? Did we ever define if someone stole it? Did you find one? What happened with that? I don't know.
I never got mine back, but there appeared to be an extra recycling bin at the end of the road for quite a considerable period of time. I nabbed it. I put my house number on it, and I've had it ever since.
All right. So I'm going to start this off, Tim. So this is a song that is considered like an alternative kind of song from the early 90s. It's the opposite of being a winner.
Okay.
Okay, well, I thought that would give you something.
Okay, so it's Loser.
By?
Oh, it's who's the name of it?
Beck. He's the guy. Yes, Beck. I thought that was an easy one. I was trying to start with an easy one to give you an example, and I was like, "Oh, Tim will know this," and then you just stared at me. All right, Tim. So it is your turn. Give me some clues. Let's see if we can do this.
Okay, so think of a speed limit.
Okay, I'm thinking of a speed limit.
Okay.
I can't drive 55.
Yay!
Okay, maybe we're too easy. Maybe we need to go a little bit more difficult.
This episode might last 15 minutes. Who can say?
Right. Sammy Hagar. I can't drive. Oh, God, as I punch myself in the face, y'all. I can't drive 55. Okay. Let me give Tim a harder one. I don't know how you define harder, but we'll see. The other thing is I didn't want to go too hard because I wanted the people around us to be able to play the game with us. All right. So this is a story about a girl who does everything wrong from the early 2000s. Nothing. Okay. She has done this issue multiple times, Tim. She is wearing a red outfit and she famously was under a guardianship from her parents.
That would be Britney Spears.
And the song is, she does the same thing over and over. She says, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this same thing over and over again.
Hit me, baby, one more time. It's not that, is it?
No, but it is kind of funny because it is. And that song, she is talking about making mistakes and no, Tim. She's wearing, and she says, I can't believe the old lady dropped it off in the ocean at the end. She's holding this stupid thing from the Titanic. There's someone, Phil Reese is screaming at you right now. I just want you to know.
Oops, I did it again.
All right, you're up, Tim.
Okay. So this song is about traveling. It's from the 1970s.
That narrows it down to like nothing, but okay.
Okay. This particular band mentions a kind of weather and some apparel.
What? Sweater weather? Like what?
The name of the band mentions some kind of weather, a weather phenomenon.
It's Raining Men? No,
No,
that's not
it's
the
that's the
band.
name of the band.
Sunday. Oh no. It's a band. What kind of weather? Are we talking wet weather? Sunny weather?
We're talking the kind of weather that happens if it rains heavily, but the ground is very hot.
Steaming?
Think of another form of steam, maybe when it's cold.
Frozen? It's the sun. Okay, I need more clues, Tim, because I'm getting nothing.
Okay.
Nothing is happening in my brain right now.
Okay, think of like in the winter when you drive to work and it is very poor visibility. What would that be?
Fog?
Yeah,
Foghorn? Foghorn? Like, no, that's not.
that's
Fog
something.
hat. Fog
That's
hat.
that's correct.
Okay. What
And-
song from Fog hat?
Okay, and it's traveling.
Slow Rider?
Yay!
I feel as though someone was screaming it. Tim, this is exactly what I wanted. Because you know the people listening to this in their car right now are screaming at us like we're dumb. All right. So my song is a song of a guy who plays the drums. We talked about
Okay.
him in the drum episode. He was an MTV staple. There's a did it.
Yeah, Phil Collins.
Okay. And the song is
In
the
the
one
Air
that
Tonight.
literally does that.
Yeah, in the air tonight. It couldn't be anything else.
It would be so obvious, Tim, if we hadn't talked about it.
If you'd have said the guy that used gated reverb on his drum fill, it would have been perfect. I know exactly what you was talking about.
I just like how my idea, they can't see us, but Joy did a drum roll physically with her hand. All right, what's your song, Tim? I love
Okay.
this. This is amazing. This is my favorite thing.
This is somebody who is known as a great songwriter.
Phil Collins. No, I'm kidding. Paul McCartney.
No. So someone who's a great songwriter, but it's accepted that their songs are probably better off performed by somebody else.
Oh, okay. I know where I think we're going with this.
Okay, do you know who the artist is?
Oh, he's like the guitar player that everybody goes and sees his concert, and they're like, "Man, I could have not." Why can't I think of his name right now, Tim? Literally, Ian Husband saw his concert.
His real last name is Zimmerman.
Oh my God! You know, I know. I can't think of his name right now.
Legendary,
My
iconic
brain
artist.
is blank.
This
He sings
person
the song
took their
Hurricane, right? Oh God.
this person put down their acoustic guitar at the Newport Jazz Festival and picked up an electric guitar, and everyone
Bob
freaked
Dylan.
out.
It's Bob Dylan.
Correct.
Jesus. I literally remember, Tim, for everybody listening, our friend Ian Husbands, who was on this podcast, may have talked a little bit about seeing his concert with Tony, and we have discussed at length, at nauseum. He's a great songwriter, but the singing skills are.
Yeah, certainly an older Bob Dylan is not what he used to be. And I said his singing was very much an acquired taste way back
But
when.
he's an amazing artist, so
Yeah.
yes.
Anyhow, we now need to work on the song and see if you can get this.
Okay.
So the song references another famous band.
Like a Rolling Stone?
Correct.
I was thinking it had to be either Tangled Up in Blue, Blowing in the Wind, or Like a Rolling Stone.
There we are.
We only had three. All right. That was funny though, Tim, because it like I could visually see him, right? Standing there with his guitar. We've talked about him. So do you know when your brain does that though? Like you can see them, but you can't like initiate the thought. You're like, it's there. I
Yep.
know it. All right. Well, for those screaming at me, I'm sorry. All right, let's give Tim a good one. Ooh, this will be an interesting one because this is a song that has come up in your Freak Jam world. And I don't know if you know that we've talked about this coming up in your Freak Jam world. I've just heard it in passing, but I've never really engaged with it. That tells him nothing, by the way. He will not be able to make any guesses of that. This is a
Okay.
song of an older female, probably 1960s. She is singing about a man who speaks of Jesus. The
Okay.
dad speaks of Jesus. And she fell in love with the son. But the dad speaks of Jesus. And it's consistently been talked about in the Freak Jam as having a weird, I think, key change. And people try to sing it, and nobody likes when they sing it. Sorry. But the father was another word for a pastor. And she fell in love with the guy who was of that pastor. Okay.
I'm trying to think of the songs that we did that had key changes.
All right. So,
The only one I can think of is "Living on a Prayer," and most people
Not
miss that out.
really.
That is not that. So
Okay.
you said it's a female singer.
It's a female singer. We're thinking 50s and 60s, probably. I don't know the exact year. The father. Okay, so the topic of this song is about falling in love with someone, and their father of the male she fell in love with, their father was like a pastor. I thought that would give it away. And he was kind of like a bad boy, even though his dad was a pastor. And okay, so think about it this way. I have a cousin who's in wrestling. What was his name? We've talked
Dusty
about this.
Rhodes.
Dusty.
Oh, Dusty Springfield.
Okay. And the father is a pastor.
Son of a preacher man.
And for some weird reason, Tim, it sticks out to me. And for those who are listening that are like people who were part of the Freak Jam, people would talk about that song a lot. It would come up more than you would care to know.
Yeah, I think it's not actually the key change. I think it's the middle eight section. The middle
might
eight
be it.
section. The rest of it is E, A, and B all the way through. And then
Okay.
there's a middle eight section that sort of goes a little bit off somewhere. You know, it makes the song sound interesting. But when you're trying to wing it at an open mic jam night,
That's
type
what
thing,
it is. I never really listened to it like ad nauseum. Do you know what I'm saying, Tim? I just remember them saying it. So have you witnessed that? Have you witnessed people butcher that song then?
I think I have played it. I mean, having played in the house band of the Freak Jam for probably 20 odd years before I left.
You witnessed everybody butcher every song is what you're
I've
telling me.
played so many things. And it's hard. It's hard to remember.
Would you, if you were going to give some advice to the people, since this is just a fun episode and we're mostly just playing games, what song would you tell the people who want to come to karaoke or to sing? And I don't mean this. We want everybody to sing and live their best life. But if you were going to tell them to avoid what song would you tell them to avoid, Tim? That everybody gravitates toward.
If you're going to a karaoke, not an open mic jam night, avoid songs that have incredibly long guitar solos in the middle, like Hotel California, because you're just going to stand there like a lemon
It's
for a long
boring.
time and nothing's going to happen. What
That's
you
awkward.
want for a karaoke is something like your Bohemian Rhapsodies, where you can really sort of feel the performance.
Do you know the best karaoke? So I've talked about this at a little bit on the podcast. I won a karaoke contest. I won like $200 in Myrtle Beach, which Tim can tell you he's been to Myrtle Beach. That's where he talked about the kids store with the boots and everything.
Yep.
It's a very like area where you would do drunken karaoke, right? Joy won one night. And you know what song has always killed it for me when I went to karaoke? These boots were made for walking. Nancy Sinatra kills it every time. Everybody in the audience knows it. It's pretty easy to sing. There's no major key changes in it. Anyone with a decent voice can pretty much handle the chorus, and it's fun.
Yeah, but thing is, as we all know, the definitive version of that song is by David Hasselhoff.
I will disagree with that, but we're going to move along.
It's from his Hasselhoff Sings America album.
I know
I
you
mean,
do, Tim.
he covers
I'm just kidding with you.
a number of classics.
I just like Nancy Sinatra's version. I'm going to tell you. I do like her version. Also, another one that I've had great success with is anything that's like woman independent, like empowering. Like those songs just kill it. All right. Well, Tim, let's say, have you experienced this scenario? And I was talking with my mom and dad about this. Speaking of this, we'll get back into like you give me a song in a minute. I've noticed recently when I've went to a few different local bands, they will sing Jackson, like Jackson from Johnny Cash with his wife, June Carter Cash, and they will bring up a singer from the audience to sing the female part. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, I have a
It's terrible
story.
every time. Every time it's terrible. Please don't do that. Continue.
Okay, the names in this story have been changed to protect the innocent. However, it was with the band Whiskey River.
I love how you say that like we're going to. Okay, so Tim's about to confirm everything I'm just thinking. Continue.
Okay, so we played at the Wagon Wheel in Christiansburg that used to be called the Huckleberry Club. And we used to play down there on a regular basis, Friday nights and Saturday nights. You'd get all weekend. You'd set up once on Friday, you'd leave all your gear there, and then you're ready to play on Saturday. You tear down Saturday night. Nice weekend of gigs. And this club reopened shortly after I moved to this area, and it was open for 4 or 5 years, and the cops hated it. They didn't want the drinking establishment in Christiansburg, so they tried to do anything to shut it down.
America.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was open for about 4 or 5 years.
All right.
And in the band that I didn't mention, just a few minutes ago, we used to do, well, actually, we didn't do Jackson. We winged it. We winged the song Jackson.
Right.
And the drummer decided to pull up a friend of his, a female friend of his from the audience.
Why is that always what they do?
Yeah, to sing the backing part of this.
So
it's fair
bad.
to say, I know the person who he pulled up. She's incredibly nice. However,
Being nice doesn't mean you can sing, Tim.
no, as a vocal performance, it was maybe not her finest work, shall we say.
Okay. I mean, to
And-
be fair, when everybody's really drunk, does it matter anymore? I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have a recording of this, and I feel, Joy, I might even send it to you because it's so poor.
Oh, no.
And then at the end of it, not only was that performance poor, it started an argument with the drummer and his girlfriend at the time because it created some kind of relationship rift.
It's always the way. Because let me tell you, every time I've ever watched this play out, Tim, the girl they pulled up on stage is usually 3 sheets to the wind. She don't know what she's singing. She don't know where Jackson is. Jackson may be maybe in England at this point. Who knows? And they're relatively attractive, and they always cannot sing.
I think I would like to go check, 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 check.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the singing capabilities. And the thing about it is, so my mom and dad we went to this restaurant, Tim, in Hillsville the other day, and it's called Fiddler's now. And it used to be the old Shoney's. It's just a buffet, and we ate there for Mother's Day mixed with Charlie's birthday. And we were talking about this, and they had went to a Johnny Cash concert kind of tribute thing that was happening. And he said I was talking to my dad about this, and he liked it because he said the guy just did both parts. The lead singer just did both parts, and it was kind of funny, and he did a good job at it, and it was humorous. And I was like, well, that's way better than every time I go, they pull some random drunk girl from the audience. And my thing is, Tim, I generally think I'm a decent singer. I've talked about this. But if I'm drunk and don't even know the song and haven't prepared it anyway, please don't pull me on stage. I don't want to see that the next day. I would just be embarrassed. And that's just the truth. Because the thing about it is they might be okay singers. We don't, sometimes we don't. But generally, you know what I'm saying, Tim? Even the best singer with no preparation and maybe a lot of shots of tequila, they're not going to do that great.
No.
That's why we have consistent problems with bands kicking their members out and or being like, please stop playing with us because every time we play, you're really and it just doesn't go well.
I can also tell you this version of Jackson from the Wagon Wheel in Christiansburg that happened actually on January 1st, 2016. It's 7 minutes and 9 seconds long.
How long is this? Oh, wait, I need to know how long that song is. That song is not 7 months. How long? We're going to Google it. We're giving it a Goog, everybody. Goog. If you're doing the bingo card, how long is Jackson the song? I just want to know. 2 minutes and 45 seconds, Tim.
Yeah, this was an extra long version.
Okay, well, no wonder she was upset. All right, well, it's your turn, Tim, to give me a song to try to guess.
Okay. So the
Okay.
first words you need to know are mutt lang.
Shania Twain.
You would be correct.
Okay.
Um, she mentioned some genders.
Genders. Any man of mine? No. I need another clue.
She's
Oh, man, I feel like a woman.
yes.
To be fair, Shania Twain has a few songs. Somebody was screaming at me, Tim, for not getting that on the. Yeah, I saw Tim's eyes. He's like, "Really, Joy? Any man of mine? That's what you think I went with?" I mean, both great songs, though.
Yeah.
Also, it is so funny. I've said this on this podcast 1,000 times, Tim. I had never paid like any attention until we got on this podcast. And now I hear him everywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was listening to that album come on over a week or so ago. And yes, it's Shania Twain. She's a great singer. But the whole thing, if it sounds like countrified Def Leppard,
Mm-hmm.
and her vocal is almost being doubled all the way through, and all the backing vocals are Mutt Lang. And it sounds good. It's not like he's trying to take over.
No, not at
He's
all.
providing this amazing vocal sound that complements Shania Twain.
And it's just so interesting. We kind of talked about when we talk about You're So Vain. I can't hear You're So Vain without hearing the backup vocals anymore, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Never picked up on it until you told me. And I mean, but the other thing is there's other songs that he's in that I just didn't even know he was in. And then when I hear that very distinct sound that he has a wonderful voice. He really does. That provides great. It's not I would say, like Tonight, the Def Leppard song. That's a good example. I never knew that he was in a Def Leppard song until we did this podcast. Wouldn't have even thought about it.
Yeah,
Now I can't unhear it.
yeah. Without Mutt Lang, there would be no Def Leppard's Hysteria or Pyromania for that matter.
It's actually kind of crazy. He's in some Brian Adams songs, but it's funny because I will know he exists. I know he's a wonderful musician, producer, singer, songwriter. Apparently he does everything right. I don't freaking know. But I was listening the other day. Brian May comes on. Brian May, not Brian May, Joy. Brian Adams. They're two different people. Brian Adams came on. Mutt Lang in the background.
Yeah,
And I was like,
Mutt Lang produced a bunch of Brian Adams stuff.
I'm like, how did I never hear this until this moment? It's one of those things that's funny, though. Once you know it, and there's no going back. Also, I learned, Tim, Brian Adams is only 5'8"
Really?
tall. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why, but when you see him in music videos, I thought he was solid. What is that? Wait, what would that be equivalent to in the UK? I don't know how to explain
It
that
would be
to.
5'8" because England
Oh,
is stuck in this metric imperial wasteland, as we've said. Like you buy your petrol in liters, but cars are expressed in miles per gallon, and your road signs are in miles.
okay.
Yet they teach kids metric measurements in school, but your height is in feet and inches. It's very weird.
Okay, so they do have feet and inches. Okay. I wasn't sure because I also don't understand the weight when they say something is this many stones. I'm like, are you guys because it feels like to me, and you could tell me if this is correct, Tim, but are they still thinking about things in stones like the medieval times?
No,
Like they're
it's
literally putting stones and this is what it equates to. I don't understand.
yeah, it's one stone is
Okay.
14 pounds.
Still doesn't help me. Why is it a stone though? Is it like a
Well, it's like
stone?
like they measure horses in hands. It's like it's not just your hand. A hand is a measurement, which is so many inches or so many
Still stresses me
centimeters.
out. I don't like it. I don't like it, Tim. All right. Well, let me give Tim a little bit of a harder one, but it'd be harder for other people. But Tim, you should know this. This
Okay.
is a song about creating chaos. That really didn't help you in any way. Wow, I really started off bad. It's a song about you can't stand things. Okay, so think in the early 90s into 2000s esque, there was this band. and they sang a lot about no sleeping till Brooklyn.
Okay. That would
And
be
they
the
had,
that would be the Beastie Boys.
I couldn't think of a better way to say that. And this song was saying, we're gonna mess up the system a lot, Tim. We don't care about things. I can't give you that because that's a lyric to this thing. The hard part about this is you can't give any lyrics to this song. But they're
Is it
talking about, go
is
ahead.
it Sabotage?
It
Yay!
is sabotage. It's actually really hard to do this, right, Tim? When you can't say the band or the actual lyrics to the song.
Now,
I
I
can't.
remember when the song Sabotage came out, and I
Okay.
remember when it was in the charts, and most people I was in and around at the time thought it was awful. And
Hmm.
I've heard it since, and it didn't age well for me.
It's not the best. I like Intergalactic, No Sleep for Till Brooklyn, Fight for Your Right are much better than Sabotage.
Yeah, I
It's one of
mean,
those songs that, like, I just think Sabotage. I don't know. I don't really think much of it, to be completely transparent with you.
as we've said before, my journey in the world of rap begins and ends with the Beastie Boys album License to Ill. I mean, I
Mm,
like some of the kind of pre-rap stuff, like we said, Dougie Fresh and White
yeah.
Lines and things like that. But if you're actually in the world of rap music, it begins and ends with License to Ill. I actually like that album. I own a copy of that album, and I like most of the songs off that album. And that's pretty much where rap ends for me.
I think they're just such an interesting beast because, yes, they fall under. There's like a rap rock kind of hip hop thing, and they're kind of alternative. I don't know where I see them in the genres. I think they're a mix of all the genres, and I find it really interesting. And in some way, I almost find them annoying. If I'm being completely transparent, and this is that, like, I don't know where they sit. And I always think about one thing that lives rent free in my head, good or bad, is brass, monkey, that funky monkey. I don't know why. I can hear like that. I don't even like that song, but it's there,
Mhm.
Tim. So for whatever it is, they've got some type of cultural significance over my brain.
And
Like,
did you know that the Beastie Boys invented the term mullet?
I think you might have said it before, but I'm not sure.
Because
Why did they invent mullet?
they had a fan club magazine at the time
Hmm.
in the 90s, early 90s. You could send away for this fan club magazine, pre-internet and all that kind of stuff. So if you was in the Beasties fan club, they would send you the magazine every month or every quarter. I was in the Queen fan club and you used to get a book every quarter, and it had letters from the band and stuff like that. So they had a book or a magazine that came out, and as you'd imagine from the Beastie Boys, it was a little irrelevant. Can't even say the word. Flip.
Irrelevant.
Well, flippant is probably the word I'm looking for.
Okay, that's where irrelevant. Flip
Irreverent
it.
is the word I was looking for.
Oh, okay, okay, got it.
I wasn't feeling good yesterday, Joy. It's hard to get the words out.
Words are hard.
Irreverent.
We've established that.
Yes, absolutely. So it had like funny articles and things like that in it. And there
Hmm.
was a picture of somebody in there, and it says, "Hey, look at that! Look at that guy over there. He's wearing a mullet. He's
Mm.
quite the mullet head." And that is the very first place that the word mullet was ever written. And most people will tell you that mullet comes from the Beastie Boys. And as far as anyone knows, this is true.
Well, there we go. I mean, I've never Googled it, but we're going to assume everything Tim said is correct. I mean, it's kind of interesting the way that was, because the funny thing about it is with vernacular, and Tim, I mean, I don't mean to sound like overly like historic, but there's probably words that have been said, but until they're put in writing, they're not part of the vernacular, right? Like there's established times over history how things become part of our vernacular. So there you go. Who knew? The
Fabulous.
Beastie Boys were not only telling us about sabotage and brass monkeys, they were also teaching us about mullets. And I guess they watched Achy Breaky Heart too many times.
There we are.
Also, I am very concerned about Billy Ray Cyrus, but that's a debate for another time. Have you seen him recently, Tim?
Joy, we have approximately 20 minutes left of this episode. I don't think we have enough time to get into that.
That says everything you need to know. All right, get Tim, give me another song.
Okay. So this is a band from the early 80s.
Okay.
They're doing something when you sleep.
Metallica? When
They
you sleep?
are, in essence, a duo.
Oh, is it in essence? Are they or are they not? Are we talking
Well, in essence, yes, they're a duo, but there's probably more people that make the music, but they're certainly known as a duo.
okay?
And the
So when
song
I
title is
sleep,
What You Do When You Sleep.
dreams, you're dreaming.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac. No, that's not a
The
duo.
video has a cow in it.
Wow, that didn't help me out. The video has a cow in it. Okay, well, I was worried about
One
that.
of the members of the duo is a famous writer producer. The other one had a successful solo career.
Hall and Oates?
The one
No.
who had the successful solo career performed at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Oh God, Tim just keeps giving me things, and nothing's. You're gonna have to give me more.
The singer-songwriter
Oh, dear, from
appears
the
in the
80s.
Tom Petty video for Don't Come Around Here No More, sitting on a mushroom or toadstool, actually.
Duo from the eight. Oh my God, I have so many questions. Duo from the 80s.
Yep.
One went solo after they were a duo, is what I'm guessing,
Yep.
and they had a very significant career.
Yep. The other person had a small solo career, but is more famous for being a songwriter and a producer. Very successful producer. The song title is about what you do. You said it had dream, you're correct.
Dreams.
And the other part of the song title is confectionery based.
Sweet Dreams. Is it the remix?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was painful because I kept thinking it was a Hall and Oates song when you said duo, and I could not find a Hall and Oates song that was about dreaming.
Well, as you make my dream come true.
Oh, well, then Tim found out real quickly. Joy did not find it because I couldn't. I don't know why, but for some reason, when you said duo from the 80s, my brain instantly went to Hall and Oates. I'm going to be honest with you. But then I was like, Tim would have said, Joy thinks Daryl Hall looks like a lion. And so I was like, that can't be it. Wow. So Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart. That's what
That's
you were
correct,
going for.
yes.
Okay. Sweet dreams. That makes sense. Wow, that was more painful than you guys realized. It's funny though, Tim. Once you hear the answer, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. But when you're thinking about it, you're like, man, what is that? All right. I will give Tim one. So this is one of those songs. Okay, actually, I'm going to do a harder one. We're going to give Tim a little bit of a challenge, as he said we only have a little bit of time. So this is a song about a state in the United States.
Okay.
It's also about what you do when you sleep.
Okay.
That's the title. And it's, when you're born and you have parents.
Mamas
It's a
and the
term for
Papas,
your-
California Dreaming.
Yeah. I was originally going to do I Heard It Through the Grapevine and tell you about the raisins. That's the other thought I had.
There we are. The famous California Raisins.
Here's a question. Are the California raisins strictly an American phenomenon?
I think so, yes. And I tell you for why. Because when Hannah lived with me in England, she wanted at Christmas to have the California Raisins who appear in the Claymation Christmas special. She loves that. And the favorite segment for her is the bit with the California Raisins. I'd never heard of the California Raisins or Claymation until that point. It magically appeared on my computer one day. And we've enjoyed it every Christmas ever since. And I've since looked into it, and they released albums as the California Raisins. It was a whole cultural
They
phenomenon.
were doing all kinds of Motown.
Yeah, I don't think the California Raisins commercial ran in the UK. I don't think.
Well, what's so interesting about the California raisins is, and for those who are listening are like, what the heck do they mean by California? It's literally the brand that was like selling the raisin packets in America.
Yeah.
And they did this whole, like, I guess, campaign where they put people up. Well, they didn't put people up. They put like a section of raisins. And they were like, they had arms and legs and they were singing and it was all Motown music. I heard it through the grapevine, which ironically, because they're raisins, if anybody doesn't get that, was like their big song. And in America, one thing that stands out to me about them, Tim, is you know what you saw them the most? So I don't know if this is an American thing, but when you're in the summer and people put those like sun visors over their car to keep the sun from hitting it.
Yeah.
There was a subset in time where every sun visor you would go past in America would have the California raisins on them. I
That
don't know
tells
why.
me That tells me that Walmart probably bought 2 million of them and sold them
It's
very
true.
cheaply.
Yeah, that's like the extent of it. You would hear a little bit of like the raisins, and they'd be like doing like a song and dance, like they're the Temptations, and they were little raisins, and you'd hear "I heard it through the grapevine." Like that was the extent of it. It's not really that extreme, but it's kind of one of those weird cultural phenomenons.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear if any of our UK or overseas listeners who have any idea what we're talking about. Because as far as I know, I lived in England during that time and I don't remember the California Raisins.
Fair enough. I mean, it was really just mostly a commercial, and I think as America, everything's commercialized, so take it with a grain of salt. But I would be
Absolutely.
curious to know. And it's one of those things that, like, if you ask any person, like me or Hannah, like Hannah's bringing it up,
Hmm.
even if they're not big into music, they would generally know who the California Raisins were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so Tim, I think you said we have just a little bit of time, so give me your next song, and hopefully I'll
Okay.
do a better job.
I think this one will be very easy for you.
Okay, okay.
This was probably going to be your name.
Now I'm stressed out. Oh, okay, Layla.
Yay! See, I could have danced around a little bit, but I thought, Joy, I would give you an easy one.
After I struggled to get the last one. Layla by, well, are we talking Derek and the Dominoes or Eric Clapton? There are questions.
Yeah, it would be Derek and the Dominoes. Any live version going forward would be Eric Clapton. If you're taking studio, it is Derek and the Dominoes. And the interesting thing about this song, as we've said many times, Eric Clapton plays the rhythm guitar and Dwayne Allman plays all the lead guitar on it.
Yeah, but Eric Clapton's kind of a bad person. So, with that being
Yeah.
said, I'm glad I
I
didn't
mean,
end up
I
named
agree.
after him.
Eric
No, I know you
Clapton
know.
has proven to be a terrible person.
Really bad person.
He has been involved in some iconic music. He's written some amazing songs. Eric Clapton, the person, yeah, I can leave him. I was
Yeah.
said to Hannah the other day, in the, I think, mid to late 90s, I was offered a ticket to see Eric Clapton at the Albert Hall. He famously plays those Albert Hall concerts, or he used to play his Albert Hall concerts, where he would do a residency for a week or more, and then he'd do an orchestral gig, and then he'd do like a rock gig, and then he'd do his standard show. He'd play different versions of it over the course of a week or 2 weeks. But it was a big thing. And I was offered tickets at late notice on a Sunday afternoon to see Eric Clapton at the Albert Hall that night. And if I remember correctly, the tickets were £40 or £50, which, I was incredibly broke at the time. And I could have probably squeezed it if I wanted to, the money if I wanted to.
Got
But
it.
I chose not to go. And the people I was with said, oh, come on, you should go, you should go. And I was like, yeah, no, I really can't afford it. For
Okay.
many years, I regretted that decision because it would have been a cool concert to go
And
to.
now you've been.
Yeah, now with the passage of time and what I know about Eric Clapton, I'm glad I didn't give him any money.
It's just so frustrating when you think about the Yardbirds. 'Cause, like, what you've got Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, like all of them together, right, Tim? Like, and I mean, I can't hear For Your Love or like all those songs, Shapes of the Things. They're such good songs. So that is one of those times where I do struggle with separating the music from the artist. But I'm very glad, Tim, you did not give him your money in that moment.
No, and I will never give Eric Clapton any of my money.
I won't either. All right. I'm going to give Tim. So we'll end this with one that I'm going to say, Tim, I'm going to throw you a bone here or an olive branch or whatever we would call it. You are this singer. This is in your bio. This is the life you live. You've retired from doing this.
Oh, that would be the B-52s, and that would be Love Shack. Now, I'm officially out of retirement. The
Oh,
Shack
he is.
is back. I'm
I
now
forgot.
performing Love Shack almost every week with Nightwings. It is going down a storm. It's become a centerpiece of the band set.
Whoa.
What started out of me going up to Jennifer in practice and say, would you do Love Shack with me? I think it'd be fun. And she's like, yeah, I'll do that with you.
We're
and
in a whole new
there we are. From
evolution,
its
Tim.
humble beginnings, it has become once again this big cultural phenomenon.
Well, there we go. I mean, everybody who listened to us was definitely worried. All right, Tim, do we have time for you to give me one more song? You think we
Yeah,
just leave
we've
it
got
here?
enough for me to do one and you to do one and maybe one after
Okay.
that. We'll see how it
Let's
goes.
go.
Okay, so this is an artist whose first recordings
Mm-hmm.
were pressed on 78. So that just to let you know
We're talking
how
old
far,
people.
how far back they went. And then
Okay.
they was performing way into the 70s.
Okay.
All right. This person was very famous, incredibly famous. Rock royalty, if you will.
Elvis.
Correct.
Okay.
And he famously had some again apparel is apparel based.
Blue Sweat Shoes.
Correct.
Yeah. I like how I was like, old. They're old, Joy. They're definitely old. Tim's a really sweet way of saying, Joy, this person's old. All right, let's see. Oh, this is going to be interesting because this will be a little bit harder, but we have talked about this song recently in like the last 3 or 4 episodes, so it should be in your mind. There's two people in this artistry. One is a famous guitarist.
Okay.
We're talking early 2000s. He was featured in this artist from the early 2000s. And the song is about, oh God, trying to think of another word for the song. When something's not bumpy, it's
Smooth.
yes.
That would
Yes.
be that would be Carlos Santana. That would be Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20, and that would be the song Smooth, and that's from the album Supernatural.
We might be too good at this game, Tim. We probably should have went harder.
The thing is, Joy, we've done 200 plus episodes talking about music.
We know all
And,
this.
and I know you incredibly well, and you know me incredibly well. And you know all the things I like, and I know all the things that you like. So we can just say things, and you're like, oh, it's that.
All right, Tim. Give me one that will challenge me and the people. All right, let's do this.
Okay.
Ish. Don't
All right.
do too hard though, so I don't embarrass myself. I'm talking a big talk.
Okay. This is a huge band,
Okay.
an incredibly huge band, who are more famous in another country.
Okay.
They are very famous here,
Toto.
but they're seen as a cultural phenomenon outside of this country.
Okay.
It's not Toto.
Dang. Okay.
They have had an incredibly long career, and they're unique
no.
that the drummer, in particular, writes all the lyrics.
Okay.
One member of this band is a
Oh,
multi-instrumentalist and has been known to play more than one instrument at once on stage.
Oh no. Okay. I need more detail.
One member of this band sometimes plays a Paul Reed Smith CE bolt-on neck
Why
electric
would you
guitar,
say that? Like I know that, Tim?
because it came up in a previous episode.
Jesus Christ. Okay, you're probably right. Okay.
One member of this band sadly died recently.
Oh God. I feel like someone's screaming at me. All right, what's the song title? What's the
Okay.
details of the song title? Because I'm not getting it from these things.
Okay. It is an American cultural icon.
American culture icon. The name of the song is about an American culture
Yeah.
icon. Like from Rush?
It is, yes, Rush, correct.
Oh,
It's about,
Jesus! It's Tom Sawyer.
yeah,
Jesus Christ, that took me. Because Neil Peart just died not too long
correct.
ago.
And he
Okay.
was a primary lyricist in the band.
Ooh, I felt the heat. Like I felt like everybody was judging me. All right, let me find one that's maybe not necessarily in Tim's wheelhouse, but we'll give him a little bit of. We have talked about this song, and this is a song that stands out to me because the music video was, I think, more iconic than the song. We're talking mid '90s, Tim. The song is literally just the guy's name, and the guy's name is a little bit complicated. I don't think he's American. Take that with a grain of salt. But in the video, he's wearing like a Fisher hat. Like he's got like a hat, and it's famously like on MTV. And like the world around him is moving, and there's colors, and there's lines, and there's like a couch.
That would be Jamiroquai. The singer is JK, and the song that you're looking for is Virtual Insanity.
It's literally insanity that you got that. But would you not say, Tim, when you think about that song, I think the music video is more iconic than the song itself.
I don't know. I like the album it comes from, Traveling Without Moving. That is such a good album. And
But
Cosmic
isn't that the
Girl off
point of
that
the music
album.
video? Traveling without moving.
Yeah, Cosmic Girl is good off that album.
It's a
The
good
whole
one.
album is superb. It's basically Stevie Wonder redone. You listen to some Stevie Wonder and then listen to Jamiroquai.
Mm,
It's the same thing.
where is he from? I'm going to Google.
He's
Oh,
from
he's
England.
from. Okay. I wasn't sure. I did think he was American, but I wasn't 100% sure where he was from. Was he very popular in England, or was that
They
more?
were huge for 15 minutes, say. The Traveling Without Moving album was very, very big. And then the album that came out after that, Synchronized, was also quite
Yeah.
big. And Synchronized has that song that's in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, you're right on that.
Canned
So
Heat.
from an American perspective, they were like Tim was like maybe instead of 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and they were generally looked as one-hit wonders, give or take. Canned Heat was on there. There's that one song called like Cosmic Girl, Space
Cosmic Girl's
Cowboy.
great.
I know those three songs, like, but if you were going to ask the average listener, they know Virtual Insanity.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
All right, Tim, well, give me one more song and we'll end it there.
Okay. So the video for this is very famous.
Okay.
And it features somewhere in it someone I call the Crab Man.
Crab Man. Okay, you've talked about that a lot on here. Give
Okay.
me more information.
The person who sings this song used to be known or has been known and is in fact written in the video up on a board as Captain Shock Ice.
What? Are you speaking? Okay, I'm lost. I need more information. What?
The person
Captain Chop
who
Ice.
Chalk Ice.
Chalk Ice.
Do you
Okay.
know what a chalk ice is?
Absolutely not.
It's an ice cream bar which is coated in chocolate, like a chocolate coating.
Oh, okay, like chocolate ice. Okay.
Yeah, it's called a. Have you never heard of chalk ice?
I feel like that's a UK thing, Tim. I'm just going to tell you right now. I have no idea what you're speaking.
Okay. So the video has a crab man. The video has some very literal song interpretations in it.
Video killed the radio star?
No. It
Man.
was recently remastered for 4K, and there was a part in it which always bothered me, where it's like a scene on a staircase, and they fixed it. Someone
Oh,
in
you talked about this on one of our. I can't remember what it is, but I know what you're talking about.
the video has a Rolls Royce in it. The video has a child sitting behind the driver's seat of a Rolls Royce.
A child sitting behind. Okay, I need you to give me more information about who this artist is because I don't know.
The singer is incredibly famous. Incredibly famous. The guitar solo of this song, I've actually recorded, and I have a YouTube video up of me playing it with the original artist, though it's fair to say the original artist probably doesn't know I've done that.
Are you sure you're speaking English anymore?
The singer had some cosmetic work done in Hounslow at the Pountney Clinic.
How would I know that?
The singer is a co-owner in Watford Football Soccer Club.
Okay, Tim keeps saying these things like they mean something to me, and I'm not. Okay, what the hell, Tim? What are we talking about here?
I have seen this artist at Wembley Stadium.
Jesus Christ. I have no
The
clue.
video for this song was shot in Cannes.
Elton John? I don't know.
Yes,
What's happening?
Elton John. That's correct.
It is Elton John. Okay. Oh, with the Rolls Royce. Okay. I wasn't wrong then.
And then what is the song?
What of Elton John's mini socks?
What song of Elton John has an incredibly
Still
iconic
standing?
video? Yes.
Jesus Christ, that was painful. I don't know why, but I literally, like, my brain just went, I have no idea what you're talking about. As soon as you said that, I was like, it's got to be Elton John, right? Okay, good. Okay. Jesus, we've talked so many times about that episode. Someone is screaming at me. Like, if they are not screaming at me, they deserve to be screaming at me. It's one of those things that you think you know, but you're kind of like, do you know what I mean? Tim? You're like, wait a second, what? Okay. I've never thought about the fact that there's a kid in the Rolls Royce until you just said that.
We said something about a true survivor screaming like a little kid, and it pans to a Rolls Royce with a kid behind the steering wheel.
You're right. And the
Very,
Rolls Royce
very
is the most
literal.
English car you could ever have.
Well, it's actually owned by BMW now.
But isn't it like the iconic like Rolls Royce kind of thing?
Oh
though?
yeah, the Rolls Royce is much like Bentley is an iconic British brand, but I think they're owned by BMW or Mercedes or something like that now. BMW, I think.
All right. Well, now that everybody's screaming at me because it took me longer to figure out an Elton John song than it ever should have. It was just like, I'm just going to mess with her for this last one. He just kept giving me the most obscure facts he could find. All right. What would you like to leave the people with?
I'd say be kind to everybody that you meet.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.